Hey everybody, welcome to PulpMX Classic Commentary. I'm your host Steve Matthes. With me on this evening to do this race is none other than
Jason Thomas.
BTOsports.com, Jason Thomas. The race we've picked is one that really either one of us have really seen, and that would be 1991 Giants Stadium. Old school one, definitely. I was 20 years old. You were?
I was probably 11, but about to be 12.
Yeah. Or maybe I was younger than that then. Anyways, yeah, so 1991, what do you, were you riding then?
Yes, I was riding a 60, yep.
Giant Stadium, nice, that really clears it up, Larry, what you're showing us there.
Right? Yeah, it's very great. We've come a long way with our
we have.
track
The
footage.
pan on the map that looks really nothing like, that helps us at all figure out what the track is. 125 main event on the line right now, and man, I had one of those bikes. I had a CR125. Point standings, 125 East. Point standings, Swink, Buell, Volan, Henry, Karsten, dude. Karsten.
Very.
What do you say about that?
I told you he was better.
Oh, yeah. We did talk about that on a podcast, whether your career or Barry Carson's career was better. And, I mean, Carson podiumed 125 Supercross.
Yeah, that's, I picked
yeah,
Barry the whole
you were.
way.
Yeah, you did not say it was your. I think Wygant maybe thought it was you. Ryan Hughes, right there, Jeremy Buell. So you're riding 60s, but you do have a connection to this year. That's Wyatt Seals right there. Your mom was scoring. Was your dad working then as an official?
I think he was, yeah. Yep.
So you were around.
Yeah, I wasn't at this race because this was far from me, but
Right.
I was obviously at the races these years, yes.
And what would you do? What was your job?
I would run score sheets from the tower to the show office.
So they would let you on the track
Yep.
without any supervision. Like they were just like, hey, watch
Well,
out
my
for
mom
bikes.
was in the tower.
Yeah,
so
but
I'd be standing.
but you had to go.
Yes. In between races, I would run the 3 score sheets from the scores to the show office and back before the next race started.
And it was pretty far, probably sometimes.
The job was called a runner.
For a reason.
You had to run, and I got yelled at all the time about taking my time watching races.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
But
Watching fights, like dudes coming off the track, I'm like, oh yeah, look at Bradshaw screaming at him, and I'd be like 10 minutes late with the score sheets.
what do you have a memorable one? Do you have a memorable one that
No,
comes to
not
mind?
really. It was just always Sonny yelling at me like, you gotta hurry up. I'm like, whatever.
Which is funny because she's still around today.
Exactly, yeah.
Still
Same
around
job,
today.
Same job.
Same job, yelling at people. Now you're all grown up and you retire after 16 years of racing professionally.
Yes, still there.
Still there. But I mean, for a 12-year-old kid, hey, we need you to find a show office, and you need to walk over the jumps and the banners and watch out for bikes. That's a kind of a responsibility.
Yeah, I mean, I'd been there a
All
lot.
right,
I'd
here we
been
go.
around the
125 main event. Gate drops. So yeah, so it just seems to me like a lot of work.
It really wasn't, but okay.
And I doubt you got paid.
$25.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
So huge amount back then for you.
$25.
All right. Huge amount for you.
I don't know about that. $25.
All right. Okay. All right. Jason Langford. Oh, Langford goes down. Oh man, and
Took
that is
Buell with
Lamson.
him. That was Buell.
Buell's 25.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Lamson's 29.
Buell's second points. That's a bummer.
Yeah, that is. And Langford really jacked him. That was not Buell's fault at all.
No.
But now
I
Langford.
think he has a broken leg or dislocated something or blown ACL. Something is going on badly with that right leg.
Yeah, not good. Out front, Swinkster.
Yeah. Color him gone, I think.
Yeah.
Early prediction.
Yeah, pretty much. We haven't watched this race, so
No, I've never seen it.
we
ever.
really don't know. But you knew Swinkster a little bit.
Yeah, I do. Yep, did and do. Right leg off right here. Right there, bad move.
Oh yeah,
Bad,
dab
bad,
it.
Bad move.
We've all done it. It hurts. Jason Langford from Texas, I believe. Swinkster, badass.
Just
on the
airing it into the turn. You saw that? Like
Yeah.
yellow flags, everything, you tripling
Yeah.
into the turn.
bike. Yeah, I doubt they.
They castrate you if you do that now. It's actually in the AMA rulebook. You triple into a turn with medics in the turn, you're pretty much dead.
Yeah. Look at that.
Minimum
Brown.
$100 fine.
Mike Brown, privateer.
Yep.
This was the year before he got a peak ride. He got a peak ride after this year. Or was it? Yeah. I
Yeah,
think so.
92. He had one.
So, Gray, Tennessee.
Muddy Creek's finest.
Yeah, so you're on 60s, and I'm racing. I'm turning pro at this point. Never dreaming that I could race this. Although I did race a amateur supercross in Atlanta, and I realized I'm way out of my league, Donnie. Like, I couldn't believe how big the jumps were. Just never seen that before in my life. And Robbie Renard and Jeff, we had some color issues going on there. Robbie Renard and Jeff DeMent were jumping on 80s, and I never even thought about it. Look at Mike
Brownie getting after it.
Wow, against Cliff Palmer.
I have a feeling he's going to hit Cliff Palmer really hard in a minute.
So you're saying that nothing really changes from Matt Brownie as a race? Look at that. Out of the tunnel, triple.
It was nice.
Yeah. Times were different back then, man. 125s were, you couldn't do all the jumps.
Yeah, they were really slow.
Right.
Really slow.
And you really saw a difference between the factory bikes and the privateer
Yeah, I
bikes.
think so. I think even when I raced 125s in 97, 98, 99, there was a big difference. So
Right.
I can't imagine what these guys' bikes were like.
And
That'd be terrible.
when you walked the track in 97, 98, 99, you were like, I can't jump that. I just can't.
Well,
Bottom
there
line.
was some triples you just,
Right,
you know,
but
only a couple guys did. Fonseca was really good about it. But yeah, there was a lot of triples I didn't do at 125.
yeah, but that was cool. No problem. You could double single
Well, yeah,
your way
everybody
to
was.
right.
Everybody
right.
was. You know.
Times are different back then, no doubt. 31 is Henry, I believe, on a DGY bike, or Eric McClear, probably Doug Henry. Yeah, it is Doug Henry. And so they're all airing the triple now, coming on the turn. Did you ever talk to any of these racers back then?
Doug Henry was always super nice to me. Yes, he was definitely my favorite, like in this class at that time. He was always so nice, like for no reason to me.
Just because you were just some kid every weekend
Yeah.
that he saw.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in the sign up used to be in like hotels and stuff.
Right,
And
yeah,
Like, so that
the
was
day
you
before.
hanging out there?
Yeah, I would always be in the hotel, like they would always be in like a conference room, and then I would follow them out and ask them if they could like keep me a jersey or something at some point.
And how many did you get?
A lot.
Did you?
Yeah, I had a bunch.
I know you got a bail one still that I would really like to have.
Yeah, a lot of times what would happen is they would say, "Yeah, no problem." And the next night, I promised you one. I'm like, "Oh man," like crushed.
Which is you're in the exact same position right now.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I try to remember that.
Can I have that bail one?
No,
Bradshaw?
absolutely not. I'm
What-
being buried with the Bradshaw jersey.
What number was your Bradshaw one?
4.
It's 4, yeah. So it's like
The
at its
best
height,
one.
the height
The
of
best
it.
one.
Yeah. And the bail is 8?
Yes.
Yeah, that's also the best one. Anyways.
RS Taichi.
No, an 8's JT.
Yeah, but he switched to RS Taichi in that time period. No, maybe it
No,
was a JT.
number 1 would
Yeah.
be RS Taichi, so it's got to be a JT
Okay.
one. Either one.
Maybe I had both.
You bastard. Maybe I got both. Maybe I used one as a placemat. Maybe I wiped my feet on one. Anyways, talk about hanging out with Swinkster a little bit. You touched on it the other day, but he was near the end of Moto Triple X, and you were riding his place?
He was just signing with Triple X. He was ending with Honda of Troy. And 96, yeah, started riding there 96, 97. I rode with him quite a bit. He's super nice. He, basically, we had a mutual friend, and he got me over there. And like after the first time he let me ride Supercross, like I jumped his triple on 125, and I was an amateur, so he was like, "Oh yeah, obviously,
Yeah.
Like I impressed him enough to where he's like, "Yeah, you can ride
Right,
anytime
right.
you want, whatever."
And
So that was cool.
watching him ride is pretty mind-boggling.
Well, yeah, he was like
Right.
superstar, and especially if anybody ever watched Brian Swink practice, he was incredible.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody would argue that he was one of the most talented guys of this generation by far.
I
So,
I don't remember what triple you were talking about. I did go to his house in 97 with Birdwell,
Yep.
and there were some jumps there that Birdwell wouldn't even try.
It was just the main
Yeah.
Supercross triple.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy, but
Right.
on a 125 it was tough.
Yeah. There was some, because they were in and out of the trees.
Well, this is a Supercross track.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there were some jumps there that Birdwell wouldn't
The
even
outdoor
touch.
track, yeah, was ridiculous. They were jumping stupid stuff back then.
Right.
But I didn't really ride that track too much.
Yeah, he was a badass. Back in this year, right here, 1991, it was who's better, McGrath or Swink? Who's better? That was the question.
Yeah, it's crazy that when you look back and see where things have gone now, that was a real, like, serious question.
Right.
That was the rage.
It's kind of like Peyton Manning, Ryan Leaf. That was a legit question. It was a
Right,
legit
yeah,
question
yeah.
coming out of college,
Yep.
right? And now look at how it worked out. But look at these guys. They're hanging on to do these triples. They're front end high, everything they got to do some of these. And I think Henry would go on to one more year at DGY, and then he had a factory Honda ride, I think, in 93.
Yeah, he was 19 the next year.
On a DGY bike.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he was factory Honda in 93.
Right. Did a podcast with him once and asked him how that went for last lap of the race for the factory Honda ride. He says, I don't remember who they came, when they came to me. Like, I'm like, really? Factory Honda ride?
Wow.
Yeah. You're just like, whatever. Look at Swinkster. Those bikes are badass too. What's going on with that smoke? Oh.
James Bond. I think he's following James Bond, folks.
I was not a mechanic, so that is not my bike at this time. But that is
371. That was my first number.
it was too. That guy has a main seal gone, and there is oil going into his cylinder. Look at it. So Swink's gonna win this.
Is there somebody right behind him?
It looks like someone's putting heat on. Maybe not.
No, he's just lapping.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely not after that screw up. So Swink wins it, and you're right, JT. You called it.
Yeah, he was really good back then.
Mike Brown with the double fist bump too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for Brownie.
People who want to know too, like if you want to see something really funny, and I've tweeted this a few times. Hammer and Hank Marie.
Yep, it was. That was 371.
Yeah.
That was the
Yeah.
his bike.
If you want to see something really funny, YouTube, 1990 Atlanta. I think it's 14 minutes in or something.
Yep.
RJ passes for the lead, and they go onto the start straight. And there's a tractor in the background, and JT is in the video wearing a Camel Supercross blue jacket, jumping up and down. Pause it.
I think it was Wrangler jacket, maybe.
Oh, maybe not Camel. Yeah, blue.
Oh yeah, I'm jumping up and down.
And you are like you won the lottery.
Jumping for joy.
Because RJ made the lead, right? That was it. Yeah.
RJ was my guy.
I've seen it many times. I laugh every single time. It's like you're doing jumping jacks.
Oh, I was fired up. Make no mistake.
Right. Hey, you know what? What's funny? 1991. I believe our mutual friend Tim Ferry was racing this first year.
91.
I think didn't he race some stuff in 91?
Did we ever figure out what number he was?
599.
I think it was something like that. I
Yeah.
think it was 599.
Yeah. But how old is that guy? He's racing with these dudes.
He's old.
He's racing with these dudes. Anyways, here's the 250cc Heat 1, Heat 2. They're telling you how it goes, and they got a picture of Doug Henry there. He rides a 125. But anyways, Bale, Stanton, Bradshaw, Ward was still good.
Kajowski,
Larry,
Larocco.
yeah, Krudowski. Some big time heavy hitters.
There's Kajowski and Larocco.
Chicken, no, that's chicken. 7 is chicken. 91.
Okay. Yeah.
He's wearing Tai Chi gear.
Larocco was still in Suzuki.
I think so. He's number 10. So, anyways, nice.
That's a nice one-legger.
It is a nice one-legger. So, and these guys get cash, bonus cash.
2 bricks of cash. How much is that? I don't know. It's
and
2
you have
bricks.
to do 4 one-leggers to get 4 bonus 2 stacks of bonus cash. Wow. I don't know what we've come a long way in our graphics, no doubt about it. All right, okay. Oh, they're gonna show the heats. Here we go. Or at least highlights, anyways. Bradshaw's a bad dude. Yeah. Hey, how about
whole
those?
shot on Suzuki.
I'm not sure. I think is that Lamson? No. He was on peak this year. I'll tell you who that is. That is Lamson.
Now with Bradshaw and Kudrowski out front, the eyes of the crowd turn to the battle for
No.
number 3,
I think it is.
4, 5, 6 spot. They were all bunched together.
I think it
Here's
is
Jeff
Lamson.
Matthes, rider number 7. He's working on Mike Jones, number
Oh,
7.
Jones. Oh, it's
Yeah.
Mike Jones, everybody.
Mad Mike Jones.
We don't have the 79.
I wish he'd put a bag over his head and jump the finish line.
Oh, Jonesy. He's in a lot of these classic videos, racing a lot of different classes
He was
and bike
good,
sizes. He was pretty good. He used to give Rollerball a run for the money, and that's something. That gear was badass.
It was.
You have the 4, which is good, but that is also a nice look.
It is.
It was funny because, like, now, back then I was a Bradshaw guy.
Okay.
I love O'Sheen, Bradshaw. Didn't like Stanton. When I asked Stanton for a jersey,
I agree.
When I asked Stanton for a jersey, he really was a dick to me.
Me too.
Now, I like Bradshaw, but he's not easy to open up to, and not that's sociable. I've hung out with him a few times. He's a good guy. But Stanton, on the other hand, is like the
Complete
coolest
opposite.
dude ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you'd never realize at the time that he was a dick when he was racing.
Yeah, it's just they switched spots.
They did. They kind of did a little bit. And not that Bradshaw's a dick. I don't want to come across like that. But I guess it is kind of coming across like that. But he's not. He's not. But he's just a little different, I think. Also, too, Stanton will tell you anything to do with his racing career. Bradshaw remembers nothing. Bradshaw's very, like, I don't know. What year was that? He asks me the question about, like, so he has let go of all this racing stuff. And Stanton's like, more on it. Anyways, so 7:06 for Bradshaw to do the heat race. Hey, and how heavy are those jerseys? With all
Really
those irons,
heavy,
with
yeah.
all those iron-ons on.
Really heavy.
There's no pressure on him, he said. So, Tishner, Florida guy.
It is.
Did you know Tishner at all, or was he the hero? Was he the hero at all?
He
As the
lived-
local hero?
Well, he lived like 3 hours away from me, so I didn't really know. He wasn't like a big favorite of mine or anything. Yeah, it was like
Right. So, he wasn't the Florida guy.
no.
He was
I'm sure he was, just not for me.
just not for you.
Yeah.
Right. This is some nice box fans right there. Oh, look, Jeff Glass.
Glassy.
Glassy. I think that was McGrath right there. 125.
Could have been.
Oh, look at that debuts of the semi for Cowie. Jeez.
And with the awesome license plate. I like that.
Self-proclaimed. George Ellis drove for years.
Did. Irene, his wife, drove with him.
Grouchy. George Grouchy.
Yeah. Irene worked with my mom.
How was Irene?
Super nice. Very nice.
George was grouchy. George was.
Tom Morgan.
Oh, is that Tom Morgan?
Yep.
Yeah.
Shane.
Hey,
Shane
so-
Nally, yeah. It's
Way to wear a Cowie hat, George, too.
cat. I drive a cat.
Do you remember seeing a semi and being blown away by it?
I was in awe. I really was.
Like you were a kid, but
yeah, it was amazing.
right.
Yeah.
I can imagine being around the scene back then. That was probably a big deal.
Yeah, it was.
So when you rode, look at Wardy and everybody stripping down. I like those pants. I had a pair of those pants.
Just do it.
So when you rode as a kid, around this time you were a 60 or whatever,
That doesn't seem
that's
safe.
really cheeseball right there.
That doesn't seem safe.
Yeah. Where would you ride? Would you see local pros racing? Like was it?
Racing, like winter Ams and stuff, it was obviously really big back then.
Yeah.
But a lot of the practice tracks I rode on, they also did in Gainesville. So I would see them all.
So who would you
practicing.
see there? Like all the guys for Daytona, Atlanta? Like
Yeah,
they'd all-
rollerball. Well, like Daytona Gatorback time, everyone.
Yeah.
Like, literally everyone
Right.
was there. Stanton.
Would you go
all the
there
teams.
to see them, just to see them?
Yes.
Like even if you weren't into riding or whatever.
Like maybe not 91, but a couple
Yeah,
years
yeah,
after that.
yeah. Like
Yeah, I would go there and ride. I would go there and ride.
And get passed by them on the same track and stuff?
Well, I'd usually get off the track if they were riding.
Oh, so there was some sort of hierarchy of.
Well, as a kid, you don't want to be in the way. Like I was
Right.
scared, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm getting out the way. I just want
Right.
to watch.
And would you just linger by their box fans and just stare like a kid?
But they were always like, I was young enough that they were super nice. Like
Yeah. But
So-
no, but this is fascinating to me because as I went to Millville once a year, and that was it, and it was a big deal. But you would go to practice tracks and see these.
yeah. But I was a kid, so it wasn't like it was weird. It wasn't like creepy guy hanging out. Like I was young enough to where they didn't think it was creepy.
Like that guy at the races a few weeks ago. Steel City.
Yeah. Well,
That guy was creepy.
not really. It's just different. When you're a kid, they don't. You know what I mean? You can
Right.
you can hang out and bother them, and it's not weird.
Yeah. But and the Winter Ams, Bradshaw would race a lot of them. Hannah.
Yeah, that was a little bit before this.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, but they would just a few years before this.
So who else after this would race though?
Winter Ams and stuff.
Yeah.
Rollerball, all the Canadians, Valancourt, those guys.
Yeah, but you didn't like those
Red
guys.
Dog. What do you mean?
We didn't like the Canadian guys.
My dad was always like real big on rollerball.
Really?
He would talk about how good rollerball was. Yeah.
Frank would?
Yeah.
Frank's pretty high in my books. He just took a step up. He took a step up in the books. Yeah, Jeff Stanton's leading, by the way.
I remember. Did I ever tell you my Duke Finch rollerball story?
No.
Gatorback National.
Oh, you did, but tell it again. Yes, I don't like this story. Tell it again.
First moto. I don't know what year this was, but rollerball had a #1 jersey on, and on the line, somebody radios. I'm in the trailer, and somebody radios to Duke. We have a Ross Pedersen has a #1 jersey on. We don't know what to do about it. We don't have time. He doesn't have time to go change. And then I see Duke. Thinks for a minute. We have a serious battle going on right here.
JMB.
And then Duke comes back on and says, that was Flying Ryan Dean right there, I think.
Really?
Yeah. Comes back on and says, well, don't worry. When the gate drops, nobody's going to think that guy's #1.
Dick?
Awesome.
It was pretty good, though. That is
awesome,
pretty good. No one's going to think he's #1.
Yeah.
He probably top 10 that day, okay?
He
He
could
probably top 10 that day.
Could have, yeah. I think he was number 85 that year.
Oh, that was near the end, and yeah, he made not a top 10. That would
Yeah,
have
I'm
been
pretty
93.
sure he was 85.
That would have been 93.
Okay.
G. Newmack. Mike Jones, look at that. JMB, semi, JMB to go to semi. Denny Stevenson, Keith Johnson on KTM. Look at that, Michael Treadwell. Yeah, so you would just see these guys at local tracks, and that's pretty cool to me. And you'd just be like, hey, look, here they are hanging out.
Yeah, I don't really know any different, though.
Right, yeah, I know. It blows me away because we never had that as a kid. Now, what about a young Timmy Ferry? Big deal? Like up-and-coming kid or no? Like not?
My earliest memories of Tim Ferry were at Winterams. He would go race in 92. He would go 92, 93. He would go race
You were how old?
Supercross.
You
13, 14.
Okay, yeah. So you're 80s?
Yes.
Yeah.
He would go race Supercross and then get the earliest flight Sunday morning, and then make it in time, miss practice, and race the Winteram.
Yeah, he's told me about this. He would just miss it.
I was there.
Because it was good money, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Was,
yeah, for sure. It was like he would be winning, so he would make like $3 or $4 grand a weekend, like on Sunday.
Right.
He'd go race Supercross, get top 5 or whatever, and then come back and race Winteram, make $3 or $4 grand.
and he was a big deal back then. Like I mean.
Yeah, he was good. Like Winterams, he was really good. Like Brian McElroy,
right?
Those guys were battling it out.
Wardy told me that he would chopper into the Golden States the day after the Supercross. Like if the race was at Lake Huron or whatever, he said that they were worth so much money and those titles were worth something to the OEMs.
Yeah.
That he would race Anaheim and then. Wow, what happened here? He would race and chopper into the race in the morning.
Yeah, they paid a lot, man.
Right.
Between contingency and track money and everything.
What happened to Stanton right there? What?
He bounced and then couldn't get on the bike.
I know, but still, that's Jeff Stanton. That's, do you think Supercross is better in these days than it is now? In these 252 stroke days? I do. I think it is.
Do I think Supercross is better?
Do you think this is better, I guess? I think this is better.
This track is horrendous.
Yes.
Look at that track.
Yeah, definitely pretty tough. There's Mike LaRocco. Look at these points. Pretty tight. For second, anyways. J&B was laying it down.
Pretty good battle.
Do you have any Jeff Stanton memorable stories? Do you have
just a lot of dirty looks?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't just me. Just the way he was.
Yeah, he definitely put off a vibe.
And J&B was cool to you, said? And Bradshaw was cool to you.
Yeah.
Right. Who was the dick?
Stanton.
Okay, yeah. So,
Yeah. Totally.
And then remember we went to Nick Way's house and your back brake blew out on your bike and he insisted you take the one off his bike even though you were like, I'm fine. He took it off for you. The whole system gave it to you. I think he even said, don't worry about giving it back.
I was like, all right, I'll bring it back and come back next week. He's like, nope.
Nope.
Keep it.
I'll get a new one from Honda.
Yeah.
Coolest dude ever.
For sure. Like total 180 as personality.
Or as Michael Vick would say about his brother, he's done a 360.
Done a 360, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There's Emig, 18.
Yep. I remember Emig at Gatorback that year broke his handlebars. He was in a 125 class.
Yeah.
And, it was like a big deal. He was on the new Illumilites.
Those are Illuminite bars, right.
Yeah.
So, Dr. D, 15. Nice.
Cliff Palmer, 16. Larry Ward, 10.
All right, here we go. 250 main events on the line, 1991. And gate drops right there. And they're off. Very exciting main event. Look at Tishner.
Tishner up the inside.
Oh, Jeff Ford
40.
comes in. I wonder if this is one of the days that he rode 96 straight days.
Probably.
As he was telling Jason Wygant, he rode 96 straight days. One time, it just became a routine for him, an obsession to keep the streak going. And he rode every single day in the morning before his flight, or whatever he had to do. So, pretty nuts. One thing about these old races, too, lots of hay on the track. Hay everywhere.
Yeah, for sure. Lots of plastic from previous years, too.
Yeah, that's true. Although that's still like that, in this day.
Not as bad, but
No. They,
used to be really bad at some races. Orlando was really bad about it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Like some races
yeah.
from the year before, there'd be tons of it.
Pontiac would be like dead animals. Wasn't there a dead animal in Pontiac one year?
I don't know.
I think there was. There was like a beaver or something they had to pull out of.
You said beaver.
I said beaver. Look at Wardy go.
I mean, he was winning.
You know what's funny, too, is like Tishner had Suzuki factory ride and did pretty well. Then lost his ride, and no one ever touched him again. That was it. Once you had this...
He went to factory Suzuki Japan.
No, but he rode for 2 years for Tough as a privateer and was putting in good results. But it was like once you were off the factory rider stink, that was it. No one wanted you anymore.
Yep, and he just blew by Ward.
Right, and there he goes, blowing by Ward. I like that gear and everything. All right. Bradshaw's in second. Steve Wise is commentating everybody. And in 1991, as per Jason Wygant, they had a lot of different commentators, and they used different people every weekend. You know who does one of these races? Dan Bentley.
Oh, really?
Just in a Honda jacket, doing the color.
RT just punted Wardy.
Don't get out of the way. I feel like RT never got enough credit either as a racer.
RT was good.
Right, he was really good. So. Now you never. No, I guess you never went to one of these giant stadiums races.
No,
So.
no, definitely not.
Stanton's hauling ass right there, bro.
Yeah,
I don't care what year it is, 91 or 2011.
agreed.
He's hauling ass.
He's stressing because Bradshaw's coming.
Man, Bradshaw had a good style too.
The unstoppable force that is Damon Bradshaw.
He had a good style, Bradshaw did. He had elbows up. Always looked pretty good. What about RJ? How's RJ with you?
RJ was,
But he was
seemed
your
all right.
guy.
I mean, he was all right. I don't really have any distinct memories,
Right.
so couldn't have been too much of a jerk. I wouldn't have liked him.
89 Miami Supercross, my first ever Supercross race, standing in the pitch, and I was just like you, staring at RJ. Probably older though, so it was a little more creepy. Just staring at RJ.
You are creepy.
A guy comes up and gets him to sign a clutch lever, and RJ gave him the most disgusted look ever. Like, I can't believe you want me to sign a clutch lever. So he had to write his name, his autograph on the lever, and did not want to do it. That was my lasting impression of RJ. He wouldn't sign the guy's clutch lever.
RJ,
Well, he did.
RJ has a big ego.
To this day, even.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I said has.
Yeah.
He has a big ego.
Oh, bro. Stanton got out of shape. Damon gained on him. These two loved each other a lot back then.
Like romantically?
No.
Okay.
Did you ever hear that podcast I did with J&B where I had Stanton on the line? And
I did.
And then
they
he said,
called in.
I do not like Damon Bradshaw.
Yeah.
Like J&B was
Yeah, yeah.
still very
Not a
adamant.
fan.
That there was no, oh, look at this dice for the lead. Hey, a lot of overjumps too, you notice?
Yeah, I think the downsides weren't very good either.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Stanton's passing him
These
back.
guys
And
are going for it.
that's his section right there. That's 6 times section.
How did I pick such a good race?
Yeah, good idea. Good one, JT. Look at these guys going at it. Man. And Bale's just riding around. He'll probably end up winning this race. He'll pass them both when they get tired or take each other out. One of the two. Oh, look over by Bradshaw. Safe to say that in your racing, Bradshaw is your number one hero?
Yes.
Like,
Once
bigger than RJ?
he came onto the scene.
Right.
I was a big RJ fan, but
Right, as a kid.
yeah, no one will replace Bradshaw.
Did you ever do any weird stuff with your bikes or gear to make it look like one of these dudes?
No, I never really had the resources or means to do it.
Right.
I always wore Axo because of Bradshaw, though.
You did? Yeah. What kind of 80s did you ride?
Kawasaki. Well, I had a Yamaha first and then a Kawasaki. But I never had any input on any of that. It's like, here, you're riding this.
Right. We should get Frank on the line and ask him about the switch from Yamaha to Cowie and what prompted it.
The Cowie was good. I had a 87 YZ80.
Oh, yeah.
1992.
Oh, you did?
That's what prompted it.
Oh. So you had the 5-year-old 80.
Yes.
And yeah, it was time.
Yeah.
The 92 Cowies, 93 Cowie 80s had the rate. They were sort of space age look. They had the shrouds like an all one piece shroud over the top of the tank or something. I think for an 80 they looked pretty badass.
Yeah.
I believe. Bradshaw's looking over a lot. Like Alessi. Nobody's that bad, right?
No.
Who would you compare Bradshaw to nowadays?
I don't know.
RV a little bit, I think.
Maybe. I don't know that we have anybody that's a southern accent that's a badass like that.
Look at this Brood of the Week, it's called. Wow.
I wish I was Brood of the Week.
No doubt. How could it not be Emmett just cleaning somebody out for Brood of the Week?
There's no limit to what I would have done to become Brood of the Week. Oh, you saw that?
Yeah.
Threw it right.
That is Fro. No, maybe not. Yeah, it is.
It is. No wonder Fro kicked him in the head later on in their career.
That's Emmett's fault, though.
It is. Well, Larocco punches him.
Yeah, but that's not worth. That's not worth that.
No.
That was Emmett's being dumb or tired
These
or
two
whatever.
clearly didn't like each other.
Right. This is Brute. This is a Brood of the Week. Jeez. And I think 2 years later was the infamous kick to the ribs. Emmett into Larocco.
93?
I think so.
I'm not sure.
94? The kick to the ribs in Pontiac?
Yeah, it was a good one. Fro did admit he was a little nervous because Larocco seemed to be unfazed by a steel toe boot to the ribs.
Did not.
I don't know what my next move is
Right.
if that doesn't hurt him.
This was it. This is all I had for him. So it was a good race, though. That gear was cool. It had the little splats on it. It was like paintball.
Yeah.
You were hit like with paintball
Yeah, I had some.
repeatedly. I mean, while Stanton, the guy that I didn't like, that you didn't like, just had boring-ass gear all the time.
TX10.
Yeah, TX10 Honda
Yeah, it's
stuff
like
or whatever.
the worst gear you could get.
Jeez. It's funny how that all works, right?
Very personality-based.
Kinda, right? A lot more dirt used back then. Look at these berms. They're all sandy, even. It's a big stadium, though, Giant Stadium. So look at that. Oh, triple N.
Should have gone 4.
Nowadays,
Oh, yeah.
let's put Jason Thomas on a 4-stroke in 1991 right now.
I win.
Do you think you win?
Yeah, of course.
You think you go that fast in those whoops?
Yes.
All right.
Those whoops were tiny.
It's crazy. You're right, though. Oh, is that Tishner? He's having a rough race.
Like these guys, they're going really fast at the time, but it's crazy how much different racing is now.
Well, the bikes are
It's the
insane.
bike. Yeah, it's not that they weren't as talented. It's just the bikes what you're allowed to get away with.
Yeah, I remember.
I mean, I would hole shot every time on a 450 with a starting
Good point.
device. You know what I mean? It's
Yep.
just like
Yep. Remember, Dogger told me the suspension never changed for Supercross. They just went stiffer.
right.
Like they
exactly.
just ran their normal suspension, but stiffer.
Yeah.
And then later on they started valving, but at first, when he was first doing it. So, look at these guys though, going at it. It's a good race. Okay. Who wins, JT?
Who wins this race?
Yep.
I'll take Stanton.
I'll take Stanton too. I think Stanton's gonna wear him out.
Yeah.
One thing about Bradshaw, he did get kind of tired in races. Even the guys at Yamaha, when I went to Yamaha, I was a big Damon Bradshaw fan. So I would ask Keith McCarty or Bob Oliver or John R. to tell me Bradshaw stories, and they didn't want to tell me any Bradshaw stories.
Not a big Bradshaw fan.
They did not like. I think when he quit, it was just a huge blow to
Killed the
them.
memory.
Right, you know what I mean? Like, because he was the man, and he just walked away. And
Jaded their
yes,
memories of
not a
him.
lot of Bradshaw stories, but the ones I did manage to get, involved him getting tired sometimes, involved him flipping people off, and then ramming people. Yeah, a lot of those stories, flipping people off, ramming people, and yeah.
Mike Jones going a lap down.
Yeah. So it truly seemed like there was no fucks given by Damon Bradshaw.
NFG?
NFG.
Are we talking NFG?
Yeah, back then. So he did not care. Seems like a long race.
It is. These guys are really close to each other for a really long time.
Right? We don't see this nowadays.
No.
This is not something that we generally see. Although Ricky and Chad had some pretty epic battles.
James and Chad too.
James and Chad?
Yeah, when Chad would be on, or like when James would be stuck behind him, James would follow him for a long time.
Yeah. I always felt like James had him handled unless Chad came up with a really good effort that night.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
I agree. But there was certain times, Jacksonville 09,
Yeah.
and one of the Anaheims in 07.
Right. But Chad and Ricky had some Supercross battles that were epic. No doubt about it.
24.
I think that's Bowen.
Okay.
I believe it was Keith Bowen, Michigan Mafia. Former mechanic, by the way.
Yep.
It's tough to ride like this, huh, JT, with some dude on you? Right? Right now,
Just
you'd much
doesn't
rather
seem-
be the...
Yeah, it doesn't seem like Stanton's putting too much pressure on him. Like if somebody's followed you this long, the pressure kind of goes away because you don't really think they're gonna, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you kind of know where they're gonna be, what they're gonna do.
But you'd rather be in Stanton's position right now than Bradshaw's, if you had to pick.
I don't know how many laps are left. Probably though.
Right. At least you can...
At least it's better for peace of mind. That's for sure.
This section's Jeff's got him. Yeah, that's crazy. It's a good race. Good one, JT.
I think Stanton's waiting on him.
Maybe.
Because like right there, he could go inside if he really wanted to try to make a pass or do anything crazy, but he's not. He's really not even trying to force the issue anywhere. Oh, now he is. Getting impatient now.
Yeah. I think that was this might be last lap.
I would think that was a blue flag.
Oh, okay. Yeah, now he's like, okay, it's go time. Check this out, Damon. Triple's in. It's nice.
See if he could do 4 there. He wouldn't have that. That would be.
Yeah, he'd probably overshoot the triple by 50 feet.
Stanton's good right there. Man, he's good there.
Yeah. Oh, gets him. Nice race. You called it, JT. You're setting him up, kind of.
Yep.
And now he's trying to get the hell out of there fast. If there's one thing you got to do, it's that.
White flag.
Look at that.
That may have been blue flag. That may have been blue flag again.
Like you said, he just timed it.
Well, when you follow somebody like that closely, you can start to see when they're like little mistakes.
Well, you can look. He switched his line there. He didn't go outside and triple. You can kind of go off their braking points and acceleration points, right? And
yeah,
just
and you
do
see him
better.
getting a little bit sloppy.
Right.
So much easier to pass somebody when they reach that point. They just don't have the fight left in them.
Who's the gnarliest guy to pass for you?
Kyle Lewis probably.
He would not give up, would he?
No, I guess it was a lot of it. He was just smart, but he knew where you were going to try to pass him, and he would not let it happen.
Yeah. So he knew he didn't have the speed, but he anticipated where you'd go.
Well, he wasn't. There was never a time where I was just incredibly amount faster than him, but there would be times where I would be faster and I would try to pass him, and he would make your life difficult.
I think a lot of guys. I think he gave a lot of people problems. Even guys like MC and guys like that.
Yeah, I'm talking about like 20 minutes worth of problems at an hour.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just following him all day.
And of course, when he was on that 4-stroke before anybody else, too,
Yeah.
mostly too.
Like I was trying to come up with equations to figure out how I was going to pass this guy.
There's the first shot of third. The Rock. High point gear.
He had a lot of up and down times with Suzuki.
He
back in
did.
These days.
He did. Rode there a couple times.
Yeah, like not showing up at races,
Right.
suing them.
Oh, he sued them?
I think he did sue. I think he was going to or did or
Oh,
something.
jeez. Last lap now. But,
Race is over now.
yeah, Stanton's.
Stanton wore him out.
He broke him for sure. Bradshaw not going to be happy with this at all.
What was that? FET that was on the AXO jerseys all the time.
That was the Japanese distributor for AXO,
Oh, gotcha.
I believe.
Gotcha.
I'm not 100% sure, but just like what was that other? Well, Taichi was a Japanese distributor for a lot of companies too. They're an actual distributor in Japan.
Okay.
But yeah, FET was I think the Japanese distributor, I believe. Look, he's yarded him now. Old 6-time, the vintage 6-time.
Strong.
Squats 400 pounds.
Quite strong.
Has a Ferrari. License plate says my Ferrari. Here we go. The winner, Jeff Stanton with the fist pump.
Well-earned victory there.
Yes, I
by
would say
6
good
time.
race, JT, to pick. By the way, good race.
Never seen it before.
No, me neither. That's some serious, sweet racing.
Perhaps we should thank Bradshaw and Stanton.
We could thank Stanton easily enough. We could text him right now. I could text Bradshaw. I might not get much back, but
I think you get a FU. And then one of those emoticons of a finger, giving you the finger.
do you think Bradshaw does emoticons?
No.
Didn't see Cooper crash out. Oh, look at that. They're buddies.
There's no second place sucks on the podium.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That was always one of my favorite ones. That and what's it going to take to beat JMB?
No.
What's it going to take to beat Bradshaw? Just JMB. Right.
There you go.
I got it. All right, everybody. Hey, thanks for watching the PulpMX Classic Commentary. Giant Stadium 91. There's Jeff Stanton getting interviewed about his wonderful race. That microphone looks a lot like the one you're holding, JT, actually.
John Knoll's very excited.
That is good goggle placement, yes. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Thanks, JT, for doing this. Good times, man. Thanks.
No worries.